Welcome to season 2 of Rabbit Holes with Aaron, where we haven't made any drastic changes, but we believe we get better with time. So enjoy the wide constellation of guests that I have on this show. Enjoy our conversations. Hopefully, you get some nuggets and you can learn and grow and become a better person. Thanks for listening. Hello and welcome to Rabbit Holes with Aaron. I'm Aaron, and today I have a very special guest, a daughter of a previous guest. Her name is Alyssa Green, and she's, as I said, a daughter of a pretty good friend of mine. And she has volunteered to be on a podcast and go down some rabbit holes with me today. How are you doing today, Alyssa?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. So I was going to ask you a question to get us started, and feel free to tell as many stories as you want. So, the first question I was going to ask was, where do you see yourself in 10 years?
I feel like that's very debatable. But
Okay.
for the most part, I would say probably off in college, living somewhere, maybe with
Mm.
like a couple friends and stuff. I don't really have like a very good grasp on like what I for sure want to do with my future, so I'm not too sure. But
Yeah.
I'm kind of just like a play it by ear kind of person, so I just kind of go where the wind takes me. Um,
Hmm.
So I think that's gonna play a lot into like where I will be in the next 10 years.
Yeah. Okay. So, off to college, perhaps, with some friends. Okay. That seems solid. So, what age would that put you at right now?
25, 26,
Okay. So, you're 15 or 16?
15, yeah.
Okay, 15. Okay. Awesome. Um, what was my other question? Is there anything new and exciting happening in your life right now?
At the moment, I don't really think so because it's like between like school and stuff, there's like I have no free time to really do much, so it's kind of just repetitive with like waking up, going to school, coming home, and then just going to bed. So I wouldn't say that there's anything new or exciting at the moment.
What are you doing for fun these days?
Really just hanging out with my friends and stuff.
Okay. Hmm. Have you read any new books lately, or any old books you read again?
I actually really don't like reading at all. I like
Hmm.
I can't seem to focus in enough on reading to want to do it all the time. And I have like if I read something, I can like visualize it in my mind and stuff, but like
Oh, okay.
I feel like I like just watching it like in action better than like having to read it or like let's say I misread something or I zone out and then I don't know what I'm reading. So I really
Okay.
like, reading's not for me.
Yeah, I've had those moments too, where I'm like reading something. Maybe it's in the morning and I'm a little sleepy, and I'm flipping the page and I'm like, wait a minute, what did I even just read on that page?
Mhm.
And I'm kind of just going through the motions. Yeah, I had that happen too. Okay, well, let's see. If you had $1 million, what would you do with it?
Save it probably. I think I would save it and then use
Wow.
it for like future use like college and stuff. And then I would also probably like split a little bit of it between my parents.
Hmm. Yeah. So there's nothing you've been waiting for money to buy something, even a little thing, even for $5?
Not really. I mean, I'd probably just get like concert tickets, but or like travel somewhere, but I don't really think that there's like anything big that I would want to buy and I'd rather like use it to invest in like a brighter future than to like spend it all carelessly at one place.
Hmm. Yeah, you don't want to spend it carelessly. I
Mhm.
understand that. You said maybe a concert. Like, what band would you go to, or bands would you go to if you could go to one of their concerts?
There's one band that I've been on for the last like 3 years now, and I've seen them twice. It's Pierceville. They're like an like alternative like emo rock band, and I've been into them for a while, but I've seen them twice because they opened for Blink 182 when I went in August 24, and then they had their own concert June 1st, 25.
Okay.
Which those were it was very life changing. It like
Oh,
it
wow.
felt very like I'm very like emotionally attached to the band itself. It's like having the opportunity to see them in person was just like it was so many emotions all at the same time, and it was really extraordinary. And then May 10th this year I'm gonna go see Bruno Mars, which I've been listening to him since I was a kid, so I'm pretty excited for that. And I'm going with uh one of my best friends too, so that'll be really fun.
Fun. Yeah. Well, good. I'm glad to hear you're doing something fun that you love and that you emotionally connect with, like in
Mhm.
many different ways. Yeah. Well, that's good. Hmm. You have, okay. I'm going to ask you a question, and you haven't asked me any questions, but you can if you want. But the question I thought about was, do you have any funny stories from your life that you remember? Could be a memory from a long time ago. It could be something that happened yesterday.
Hmm. I don't think I really have any like particular funny stories that are coming to mind, but like I like vaguely remember some stuff, but like I don't have like a good idea of like how to explain it. So I'm gonna have to say
Hmm.
not at the moment. No.
Okay. How about a scary story? Or
A scary
how about,
story.
yeah, I don't know, maybe ghosts, or
I
maybe you
am
watched a
really
scary
into like
movie.
I'm really
Go ahead.
into the paranormal and stuff. And it's always been very interesting to me because it gives me like a like because I don't really know what I believe in, like what happens after
Okay.
death, but like uh seeing like paranormal investigators go out and do stuff between like my own crazy experiences, it gives me a perspective that like changes like or wait, it gives me an idea and it changes like my perspective on things, and it's
Yeah.
just very like eye-opening, and I feel like it gives me a little bit more hope seeing things that like people have experienced and stuff, and of course it could be fake, but regardless, like I feel like there's still just like a sense of hope that's in like
Yeah.
seeing other people have these experiences and prove it.
Yeah. Where there's life, there's hope. I mean,
Hmm.
if you got some life in you, if you're a ghost, I guess maybe not as much hope as if when you were alive, like we are right now. Hmm. Okay. Paranormal. What was the name of the? Did you say a show? Paranormal, or did you say?
I just kind of watch like a variety of things, whether it be like on YouTube or I watch like
Okay.
Ghost Adventures or something. Just like random TV shows or YouTube videos, really. And again,
Oh,
that's where
okay.
it's kind of like it's probably fake, but like it's still cool to see, and it's very interesting to like have that be something that could like maybe be a possibility.
Yeah. Sounds exciting. Possibility of
Mhm.
excitement. You leave your you leave your mind and your heart open to experiences that you haven't experienced before.
Mhm.
Sounds like I'm not going to say no to it until I experience it. Then I can decide whether I'll like it or not. Seems like you're
Mhm.
taking that perspective. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
As
So
for
you Sure, go ahead. Go
sorry.
ahead.
So for my own experiences though, there was one crazy thing that had happened. I was at my mom's house and I was in the kitchen. I was just like looking for food, like trying to find something to eat. And then down the hallway, like I heard like footsteps and stuff, and I thought, oh, maybe it's my brother in his room. And then I looked down the hallway, and then it just stopped, and like it sounded like it was coming closer too. And then it just like
Hmm.
stopped as soon as I looked, and I was like, "Oh, that's weird. Maybe it was one of the dogs." But all three of them were by the window on the other end of the house. Um, so I was like, "Oh, that's really peculiar." So, but like in the end, I thought nothing of it. And then I went back to looking for my food, and then I heard it again, which
Hmm.
was that's where I was kind of like, "Okay, something's weird." So I looked back down the hallway, and then like at this point, they had made their way to like halfway down. I like swear I heard them getting closer, and then again, like I just looked and then it stopped abruptly and then one of my dogs came down like and it just stared at the hallway and it started growling, which I was like, "Oh, that's a little weird."
Oh,
And then my dog
yeah.
walked away. So I've always kind of like been iffy on it on like the belief in like the paranormal and spirits in the afterlife, but I feel like between that and just like thinking about the possibility that it could be real has given me like again like that sense of hope like I was talking about.
Okay. Yeah. I've heard something like that. The dogs can
Like
detect
they
and
have a sixth
protect you.
sense.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
They can they can detect stuff like that and protect you from it. Like, who knows? I've always wondered that. What is dogs smelling like? Can they like smell for miles, or can they smell ghosts? Or, I've
Mhm.
wondered at what it's like to be a dog. But apparently, it sounds like your dog protected you from something,
Maybe.
scared it
I'm not
off.
too sure. Yeah, because
Yeah.
we have really little dogs. We
Oh
have
yeah.
two Boston Terriers and a Havanese. So they're really tiny. So I don't know if they'd be the best guard dogs.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it worked that day.
Hmm. I think so. Maybe.
I mean, I'm always surprised. It seems like just similar to what you're saying, what by all the things we don't know, by all the things we can't see or we can't sense,
Hmm.
like you're talking about. Like, was it a ghost? I don't know. I couldn't see, smell, taste, or touch anything, but you heard something, So yeah, there's a lot that we can't sense, I guess.
Hmm.
It
I like
seems
to
like,
live
I don't
on.
know.
Yeah, I like to live on the fact that there's like um infinite possibilities of like the fact that like something could possibly be real.
Hmm. Yeah. You're making room for stuff that we don't experience as real to possibly be real.
Hmm.
Leaving it open. Like, well, I don't know. I'm not going to say no. I'm not going to say yes. I'm going to be open to experiencing new and
Yeah.
different things.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm more of like like I gotta see it to believe it, but I'm not gonna like immediately deny it. That's kind of how I am.
Hmm. Okay. Okay. Well, thank you for explaining that to me.
Hmm.
Yeah, I guess I come from a different background of everything was ultra religious and everything was known, and if it was not known it was evil or something, kind of a conservative mindset.
Yeah,
Growing up, like all the stuff that we don't know, it falls in the category as we don't need to know it, and everything we do know is there's rules that govern us, and things you can do and things you can't do, and that's what we know, and you got to live by what you know, not by what you don't know. But I've turned a corner to tell a little bit with you about myself. Turned a corner from that not too long ago to where it was like, I think I've come to a place similar to you where it's like, well, I don't know. I'm okay saying I don't know what all is out there, what all exists. Have I experienced everything? Do I need rules for it? No, so I can understand where you're sitting. Maybe you're saving yourself 50 years of exploring, just like me. I had to start off there and work to get to here. So, hmm. Do you like to do any art or anything?
yes. I don't know how I got good at it because I didn't really practice that much, but uh what I have though, it's very complicated because I have the ability to like if you give me like a reference of something, I could draw it, but I don't have the ability to create something or draw something like I can't draw something 3D and then put it on the paper either. So it's very confusing. So again, like I can
Hmm.
copy, but I can't create. But um, I think I actually don't know where it came from, but I just woke up one day and I wanted to draw. So I started doing it, and then it ended up turning out really good. At least that's what I thought at the time because I was like, oh, I didn't know I could do that. So I
Yeah.
kept drawing more and more, and then like it became like more like bigger projects and complex things. But it's only ever stuck to just like pencil because I can't really like incorporate color, and do like I can't do like painting or oils or again just like coloring because I don't really know how colors work that well, and I feel like that's something like I think I'd have to learn color theory to like really be good at it.
Hmm.
Um so I could get a better idea of like how to like do things. But I'm pretty content with just like sticking to like sketching and using pencil and paper and stuff.
Oh, well, good. I'm glad you discovered that ability and that you have fun doing that.
Mhm.
Color theory. What is that? You go to, is that a class at school or?
Well, it's like I don't really know how to explain it very well because I don't really know it. But
Oh,
uh,
okay.
basically, like if you put this color with this color, it could look like this color, right? Like it's like if you see something in like a different light, it looks like it's a different color or something like that, or like the blend of this color and this color makes this, but if you put it next to this color, then it's gonna look different. I'm pretty
Hmm.
sure I'm pretty sure that's how you explain it. I'm not too sure, but uh it's incorporated a lot with like drawing and stuff. Like if you're gonna draw something like 3D and then want to color it, instead of using like a black for your shadows, you would use like a maybe like a blue or green or a purple. I guess it really
Right.
depends. So,
Yeah.
but I feel like I don't really have a good grasp of that to like
Hmm.
really know how to do it very well. So I've never really tried, and I probably will at some point. But I feel like I just want to understand it a little bit better before I give it a shot.
Hmm. Okay. That makes color theory makes sense to me. I guess I do use a lot of that because I do pottery. I make pottery, and I think your dad has a cup I gave him, a coffee cup I gave him that I
Does
made.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And it's kind of interesting because if you use different colors of glaze, if you do like one layer of yellow or one layer of blue and one layer of yellow, then the light shines through it and bounces off. This is what the light theory teaches you. And it comes out looking green. So you look at it, and even though you know that's blue and yellow, it looks green because of the light shines through and bounces off, it comes back out, and mixes the colors as it travels through the glass. But yeah, I know what you're talking about too. I never wanted to get that much into the weeds with like shading. So if he's wearing a blue shirt, the dark areas where he's sweating, they've got to be a darker color of the blue. You can add a little black to the blue or something like that, but different shades of blue seem to work better. But that's about as far as I've come into the color theory um, journey. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
Because you got to put multiple layers of glaze on to make it stand out like a glass finish on the outside of
Mhm.
the pottery. Have you ever made pottery before?
I have not. I like during art class in like sixth grade, which would have been like 4 or 5 years ago, maybe. Uh, I like we had to make like little cups and stuff. I was never good at it. And I guess like it seems kind of interesting, but it's not really something that I like can see myself wanting to do all the time. Whereas like
Yeah,
with drawing or sketching, it's something that like I can just sit down
yeah,
and grab a pencil and paper and then just start drawing.
yeah. Yeah, there's not a lot of materials that you need,
Mhm.
for just drawing. That's true. It's cost effective. Yeah, I've noticed that. So, do you know what you want to be when you grow up? Or maybe five five different things you're making your mind up about, or no idea at all, or what? What do you think?
I've taken like a big interest in like biology and human anatomy and all that.
Okay.
And I was thinking about doing something in the medical field and more specifically probably like a coroner cuz like
Hmm.
I know that probably sounds crazy or like I sound like a psycho, but um I
I don't
like
think so.
I can't work well under pressure, so if I was say like a surgeon or something like that, uh I think I like it's just too much for me to handle, especially if it's very urgent. But like if I'm a coroner, I get
Yeah.
to like figure things out and like solve problems, which is something I also like doing a lot. While also applying like my interest in like biology and human anatomy as well.
Okay. Yeah, it sounds like that's something you might need to check out some more. I'm sure you already
Mhm.
are, but yeah. Okay, coroner. Yeah, because you don't have to worry about them dying. They're already
Mhm.
dead. You know. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know why. I wonder why we see that as a weird job to take. You're right. I mean, I don't think so. You can
Mhm.
do whatever you want, but I know that the few coroners I've known in my life has always been just a little weird. So, but I haven't known many.
Mhm.
But but weird is okay. Weird is just another way of saying unique. But I
Yeah.
think that would be a fun job to try. Why
Oh,
not?
yeah. I've also been told by like a few friends, they want me to like go into like psychology classes and be like a therapist or something too.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I've actually been putting more thought into that. So at this point, like I don't really know like what I want to do, but I'm taking an AP psychology class next year for uh in junior year. So I think after that class, I'll have like a good idea of like for sure what I want to do.
Yeah, definitely makes sense. Yeah, I'm a trained counselor.
Hmm.
Got my master's degree in rehabilitation counseling, and I mean it's profitable. It can be. I have friends that are doing group work, leading groups, and they're very successful in helping a lot of people at once as well. And I've had some experience doing counseling. It's a lot of fun to walk with people on their journey
Hmm.
and really to show them that, like, no, you're nothing wrong with you. You know, you're just normal. You're good.
Hmm.
Whatever. Just to encourage them, because a lot of people just can't see how good they are or what they got that's working. We
Hmm.
focus so much on what's not working and what's broken and where I'm not happy. So much as a society, it seems like to me anyway.
Hmm.
What do you think?
Yeah. A lot of like the reason why I want to be a like have well not want to be, but oh my gosh, a lot of the reason why I've thought about it is because like after going through like my fair share of like problems and stuff, I know that it's
Sure.
like I know that it's like hard when you feel like you really have nobody to listen. So I feel like having
Hmm.
uh being that person that somebody might need like that it brings like a little bit of like solace and like it
Yeah.
it helps me stay grounded knowing that like I can help somebody at least by listening or just like being there if they need it.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, I'm like a big listening advocate, I guess.
Hmm.
Listening is one of my favorite topics for my podcast. So that's interesting that we ended up getting there. you know, because you're right. I think listening at all levels, at all ages, to other people is what life is all about. Like,
Hmm.
I mean, you can't learn without listening. You can't learn anything
Yeah.
without listening. some way. I mean, maybe you read a book, or maybe you watch a class or YouTube video, maybe you talk with somebody, but like you've got to listen somehow to be able to take the new information in, think about it, connect the dots together, and get
Mhm.
smarter. You know.
Yeah.
But yeah, so
Um,
many people. Go ahead. Go ahead.
all right. I'm also just very fond of like communication and stuff because
Mm,
I found that with like friends and stuff, if I have like a problem or something or if they have a problem, like I found that communication has helped like make them feel better. So I think that if I was there to like help somebody like learn how to communicate better or have them like have a better understanding of like something they want to say, that they might feel better that way. And that's kind of what I really like.
mm. Do you feel comfortable sharing some of your techniques or tricks or some of the questions maybe you ask, or what do you
I
think? Do
don't,
you?
I don't necessarily think that I really have any techniques or tricks. I just like weigh in the fact that like if I like let's say I have a problem with a friend, I weigh in the facts about like if I don't tell them that I have a problem with them, then the problem's going to continue. But if I do tell them, then A, they could be hurt by what I have to say, or B, we could work something out that is good for the both of us. So after
Hmm.
having, because that has happened before, and it has turned out in both like good and bad ways. But having like that like open line of like communication and stuff has like it's brought me a lot closer to a lot of my friends, which I've found. um yeah, I think that was what I was gonna say, so.
Yeah. Well, that's really an advanced technique all by itself. So
Mhm.
there you go. You're figuring it out, without any formal training by trying it. And I think that level of honesty is really powerful as well to say,
Mhm.
hey, this isn't working for me. Please stop doing that. Whatever it is, it could be an
Mhm.
annoying thing. It could be something where they almost die, like not looking both ways before you go on the street or something like that. But yeah, I think it's important to address. There's a fancy word for that. You know what it is?
I do not.
Broach. Broaching. You're going to address something that you don't know how popular it's going to be. You think it's probably not going to be popular at all. It's called broaching a new topic or broaching a topic. And we spend probably whole textbooks talking about broaching and how to broach. So it could be like, hey, excuse me, I'm not sure if you saw me here, but you almost hit my car, or whatever the case may be, or you ran over my foot with your shopping cart. It could be absolutely minor, or it could be the most important decisions you ever make in your life. Um, but it's like, hey, do you have I have a question for you. Do you have a moment? Can we
Mhm.
talk about this? That's the fancy word for that is broaching. Now you know. But you're using a lot of really advanced, what I would consider advanced techniques. It takes honesty and it takes a certain amount of confidence,
Mhm.
to tell someone something that isn't working.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I've also grown very good at like weighing in like the facts and realities of different situations. Like if I like notice something's wrong, like I weigh in like the rights and wrongs of like what somebody might be doing, and then that's how I like decide whether to approach them or not, if there's like a problem. And
Yeah.
I spend a lot of time thinking, and my perspective on things have changed, and one of those, this is kind of off topic but whatever.
There's no
uh
topic. Oh.
yeah, and one of those things that like I've kind of learned mostly on my own has been that like, because have a bad habit of like holding on to things, whether it be like things that make me sad or angry or whatever. Um, and I was in a really depressive state because of that for a
Yeah.
while, and then one night I was kind of just thinking, I was like, in reality, like there's nothing I can really do about this problem, so I think it's probably better to let go of it than to hold on to it, because if you hold on to something that's really affecting you like that you know you can't do anything about, the more it's gonna like affect you and hurt you and stuff. Which I've kind of I've gotten really good at like accepting things like that as well. I've noticed.
Okay. Yeah, that's going to serve you well in life because
Hmm.
there's in my 52 years there's always things that don't go the way I wanted them to, and I wonder, could I have done something different? Would that affected it differently?
Hmm.
If I'd have said something, would it kept, would they still be alive? Sorry, that's kind of dramatic, but it wasn't really ever that dramatic. But yeah, how would things have worked out if I'd have said something, or if I'd have done something, or if I'd have done something different? That's a interesting flavor of survivor's guilt, kind of, to put a big word on that. I deal with that with veterans quite a bit, where the bullet shot the guy right next to him and didn't shoot them, and they feel guilty because if they hadn't taken that step, they would have died and not him. And maybe they didn't have kids and he had kids, and so there's a lot of things they feel guilty about. But yeah, yeah, wow, sad or angry, huh?
Hmm.
Those are some strong emotions. So, but those are also the most vulnerable paths, and I see potential rabbit holes. I don't know if you would have liked to share your angriest story or your saddest story, because those are super vulnerable. But if you do, you know, I'll I'll leave it open for that if you want.
There's one that I can think of at the moment.
Okay.
So I'm in an AP World Studies class for my school and stuff. And I was offered cuz they're going on like this trip to it's like Italy, Germany, Czech Republic, Austria, and they're just going to travel all over. They're going to go to Rome and Florence. And initially I think the cost of the trip was like $4,500 and I was offering to pay for half of it. Um and then my mom initially said, "Yeah," and then she didn't sign me up for it on time. So I wasn't able to go, and then a spot did open up. So I worked things out with my teacher and my parents, and I was like set the spot was mine to go on the trip. And then the day came where I was supposed to get my passport photo taken, and I don't remember why, but I remember that it was just like a rough day at the time. And my mom had called me when she was going to pick me up. Sorry.
No
But
problem.
she had called me that she was gonna like she was supposed to pick me up so we could go get that photo taken. Uh and she had called me and she said, "Hey, by the way, we're not gonna go do that today because like you need both your parents there." And I was like, I did tell you that we needed both parents like to be there when I got this done. But she was like, "Oh, that's like not how they used to do it. I didn't think it had changed." And I was like, "Whatever." Um, and then this was during my marching band season. I think this would have been October or November. But I remember I had went to my marching band practice that night and then she had picked me up and then she just told me out of the blue, "By the way, I don't want you going on this trip." And I'm like, "Are you kidding me?" And we ended up having a fight over it and in the end she had said that like, "Okay, fine, you can still go." And I was like, "Okay." And then my parents are trying to get like cost and donations and like all this stuff with like financial stuff figured out, even though I was still paying for like half of it. And we were gonna get like hefty donations from like uh one of my grandmas and my aunt and stuff. And
Okay.
then again, for the last time, my mom ended up switching up on me again and finally said that I could not go. And I was already planning on going on this trip with my best friend because she's in the same class as I am. So
Huh.
she had been signed up. She's still going. It's over spring break in a couple weeks, but uh it was just like this back and forth between you can go, you can go, you can't go, you can go, you can't go. And in the end it just didn't work out. And she keeps bringing that up to this day that like or like if I have an attitude or something, whatever she calls it, which honestly that's probably right. She says like she uses it against me as like ammo and she's like yeah, this is like the reason why you couldn't go on that trip because of like your attitude and your repetitive behavior and blah blah blah.
Hmm.
And, uh, it's just like it's stupid. And like I never really have that many problems with my mom. We get along pretty well. But on the occasions that like we do get into like an argument or a fight about whatever problem there is, she has been bringing that up and I've been telling her like, "Hey, that's not cool." But she just does not listen. So that's like one of the things where I think that was the event where I kind of was just like, I can't really do anything about this. Why am I still like upset about this even though it's been like months later? So I've let go
Sure.
of it, and don't get me wrong, like it still does hurt. Especially cuz like I'd been wanting to go for a long time and me and my friend had this plan but in like the grand scheme of things, like there's nothing I can do about it. So it's like better to just kind of let it
Hmm.
go at this point.
Yeah. Wow. Thank you for sharing that story.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot to think about.
Hmm.
I mean, you've already done all the thinking, but for me, yeah. Well, I'm sorry you weren't able to go,
Oh yeah, it's okay. I'll probably end up
but I,
going on like my senior trip and stuff. So
okay. Yeah. Yeah, a lot of times it does take a while for parents to come around and think about it. Really, really think about it.
yeah.
Huh. You're right. There's a lot of things, that are mysteries in that story, and it's just easier to say, you know what? I'm over it. You know,
Hmm.
there's things each day, yeah, to be grateful for, sure. There's challenges each day that are hard to, kind of sometimes days are hard. Some days are harder than others. Like Mondays are harder than Fridays. It's like, well, I gotta go back to school or work. Wow. So was that a sad or angry? It sounded like both
Yeah,
story.
it was a lot of both. It was there was I was so frustrated for so long about it. And also like very upset, which I'm not as
Yeah.
upset right now because it's like I'm gonna be graduating soon, and not only that, but I have other opportunities in the future where I can like go on trips like this again. Um, so like it's not like a once in a lifetime opportunity.
Sure.
It might seem like it, but in like reality, I know it's not. Uh, so yeah, it was just like a lot of like sadness and anger and frustration, but I'm mostly over it at this point.
Yeah. Well, and I can tell. Yeah, I mean, you're right on one point. Well, you're right on every point so far, but I mean that I've
Mhm.
heard. But the one thing that I agree with is, yeah, it's never too late to be able to travel. And so many people, they travel during certain times of their life and they never try it again. And me and my wife are actually traveling to Thailand. We've got tickets to fly there on June 7th. And so we're gonna,
Really?
and I don't say that to make you feel bad. I just say that to
Oh
give
yeah,
you
I know.
hope, actually.
Yeah.
To give you hope that like, and you know why we're going to Thailand?
Why are you going?
Primary reason, to pay off our bills. People think, oh, I can't travel till I got all my bills paid off and I've got enough money saved up, and actually it's so much cheaper to live in Thailand. And of course, your dad's been to Thailand. You can ask him
Mhm.
about this too. But it's so much cheaper to live there that like we can live off a fraction of my retirement money for the Marine Corps and use all the rest of the money to pay off other bills and stuff. Meanwhile, you're sleeping in a nice place, eating as much food as you want, and hanging out on the beach with elephants. I mean, I don't know what bad side is, but we just kind of realized that we just finished visiting the 48 contiguous states, so everything but Alaska and Hawaii. It took us about a year and a half. And actually, we came down and visited your dad too. I came down there and visited, stayed for the weekend. I didn't, you didn't come over that weekend, but we hung out. I was up and we were in Michigan for really more than a month because we were up in the Upper Peninsula. So we were just up there in the forest, hanging out, living with the trees. It was nice. It was nice. And has your dad taken you up there yet?
We've not been to the Upper Peninsula in a long time. I know there's one time I was up there, and I think I was like 7 or 8 years old, so I don't really remember much of it. But we've been up close to like Mackinac and stuff.
Okay. Yeah. Well, yeah, I would suggest you talk him into it because I don't know what the rest of the world looks like very much, but I've been through all the states of America except Alaska and Hawaii, and Upper Peninsula was one of the best places. I enjoyed it so much for the quiet, for all the trees and hearing the wind and hearing myself breathe and being able to think and journal, no interruptions. My cell phone didn't work, so I didn't get text messages or phone calls until I drove out of the forest. But yeah, we had a really good, unexpectedly, really, really good time up there. And I guess it's probably 4 hours away from you.
Hmm.
But anyway, that's my plug for you and for you to bug your dad about it. But he agrees. He thinks Upper Peninsula. You probably wouldn't have to twist his arm very much at all to say, hey, can we go to Upper Peninsula? Is it the world? No, it's not the world, but the world will be there. And and I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen in the world. Nobody does, but it's but America is beautiful. And I don't know, we're going to go look at other parts of the world, but I'm sure everything is just as beautiful as America or maybe less, maybe more. I don't know. We're going to see. It's exploration. But yeah, I want to give you hope that like at any time, and that was our backup plan. So you could save that as your backup plan if you wanted to, like, hey, if this job goes through, if college doesn't work, I'm going to go to Thailand. Because that's what we would say. Because we'd have the truck break down or something big on the RV break. And if it was going to be more money than we had, like even on credit, we were just like, you got tickets to Thailand yet? No, but I'm going to get them tomorrow. That was our backup plan for traveling through the 48 states was if things go wrong or the gas prices go too high, we're just going to go to Thailand because it's cheaper there.
Hmm.
But I'm sure it has its dangers, but as well. But I just like your dad, I had been there a couple times in the 90s when I was in the Marine Corps, so I knew a little bit about Thailand. But we're supposed to go to Thailand, London, and then I think I put in a request to go to Iceland.
I've always wanted to go there. It looks really cool.
Yeah. What do you like about it? I mean, that so far.
I don't know much about Iceland, but I know that it's like sits on like two different like tectonic plates and stuff.
Hmm.
And it's very like mountainous and there's waterfalls and it's nice that like I like the climate there. I know it's not the warmest, but I do still like it a lot. And then I know that it's far enough north that like you can see like the northern lights and stuff at night. And
Ooh, that would be
there's
nice. Yeah.
yes, and there's like it's just very beautiful and I want to go there very bad.
Yeah. I think they call it the land of fire and ice because there's so much volcanic activity, like you were
Yeah.
referring to. And then there's so much ice, and I've heard there's all kinds of. I love like hot springs that you can go soak in.
Hmm.
So I've heard there's a lot of those there too. But and that's where there's old Viking settlements there
Hmm.
that they're still archaeologists are still figuring out how they lived back long many years ago, thousands maybe, probably thousands of years ago, 2,000 years ago ish. Yeah, well, that's cool. Yeah, we found out what you want to do, and that's travel at least a little bit.
A lot.
Well, that's
I
good.
would
You
I
start
would love
a
to travel
lot.
like everywhere. Yeah.
Have you
Anywhere
now? Go ahead.
anywhere but home. That's kind of how I'm at right now. And it's not saying that like home is bad. No, 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 not at all.
Right.
I just like I get tired of like doing the same thing every day and like going to the same place and having nothing to do. So I feel like traveling and visiting all these other cool places that like I've only seen in like books and shows, like it seems like such a dream to me. So we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah. Well, I don't want to get you in trouble or me in trouble, but I can't tell you how many people I've seen bicycling around America. I mean, it's crazy. I ran into this one at a gas station. These couple of um, ladies in their 20s were on bikes, and you could tell they've been on them a while because you could smell them. But I mean, they were young and happy and smiling, and like they were asking for a ride because one of their bikes messed up, and I took them, and they were living under a bridge as they traveled around America. They were living under a bridge out in the county. So I gave them a ride, dropped them off by the bridge, and said goodbye. They picked up some stuff from the gas station. But yeah, I was like, hey, good on you. You know, there's a word for that. Well, there's lots of words for it, but I think about a word that I can understand. Nomadic.
Mhm.
That's when you travel from place to place. And I have experienced a lot of benefits from the nomadic lifestyle. But I, like you, it sounds like, get very restless in the same old day in and day out, the same places, the same people. And I came up with this saying, sometimes to grow, you gotta go. And I've found it to be so true that as a person, I grow when I leave a group. It's like, let's say you hang out with the same five people all the time. And I'm not saying in high school go somewhere, but like, that's how high school is. You have to hang out with the same people. But
Mhm.
a lot of times. But after that, like you get a lot of choices of where to go and what to do, what college to go to, where to spend summer. And especially, you're getting closer to 18 and you get freedom like I'm a adult, you know. So, yeah, think about that. Think about and I might get in trouble. I don't know with your mom or dad or whatever, but I'm not trying to. But yeah, it's just I've been nomadic all my life. I have moved. I've lost count. I had moved over 300 times in my life when I got out of the Marine Corps. Moved where I slept at night. Let's say it that way, where I slept at night. So whether it's from one building to the next, or whether it's from one state to the next, one side of the country to the next, one country to the next, I've been a nomadic person my whole life. Not my choice. Of course, you don't get a choice when you're growing up. My parents moved every couple of years, but I guess I got the hang of it, and I've started doing that way. You're talking to me right now. I'm in an RV. It doesn't look like it, but I'm in the RV we just finished our trip in, and we're going to sell this to go to Thailand, and we're going to travel around the world, and we're going to come back. But the cool thing is about being nomadic, well, there's a lot of cool things, but one of them is like when we sell the RV and we sell our vehicle, well, you can't go anywhere. You can't live anywhere. We don't have a house. We're going to go around and visit family who have an open room and hang out with them and stay with them for a week or a couple weeks or whatever. And we've already visited them when we were on the road, so we kind of set that up in advance to where we were good guests. So we're welcome back. And that's kind of a lost art in our society too, is visiting people. When I was growing up, we went to visit my grandma and grandpa 14 hours away in Kansas from Texas, so traveling north about 14 hours. And we did that every Christmas and every summer. And from wherever we were in America, we traveled to Dodge City, Kansas every Christmas and every summer. And you just you get you get the hang of it, and it's fun, and you develop like relationships with people. And that's what I did. That's why I came to visit your dad, because I went back. I missed all the people I was in the Marine Corps with, and I don't get to see them anymore. So we went on the road and visited a lot of them, a lot of them. Anybody that was really on Facebook that wanted to meet, I would come to their city, hang out with them, eat a meal, talk, whatever, and visit them. So there's a fun and lost art in that, but I talked about that for a long time. Sorry, but
No, it's
but
okay.
cool. thank you for sharing about that trip and that you missed out on. But
Mhm.
sometimes we miss out on something like that. It just makes us more passionate about making sure that the next time it happens, we're there,
Yeah,
you
for
know?
sure. Mhm.
Yeah. Well, cool. Thank you for joining me, Alyssa. We're
Yeah, of
getting
course.
close to time to go. Um, it was a it was a good time talking with you and listening to you and getting to what I feel like the things you're passionate about. So, well, and thank you to all the listeners out there that probably got something from this podcast. Maybe I don't know. I don't want to speculate, but thank you for listening, and we'll look forward to seeing you next episode.